Okay. So going to, let me actually, why does that happen every time I hook up? Okay, I can't get on here. I'm just going to go to Magnus Baracus. Okay, and I'm telling this to every class. I don't remember who exactly it is name-wise, but I do have some students still in the roster or in the classes who have never been to the Blackboard site. And you need to make sure you log in and start doing stuff. But it's your student ID, 8-digit birthday is how you log in. So I'm going to keep mentioning that until obviously at least every person log into Blackboard. I'll probably check that once a week. So let's see. Some things I'm going to talk about today in English 1301, just so you're kind of prepared for what's coming in the other class, since this is primarily, the whole point of this class is to support what we do over there, is that I'll be showing you, it's got a new start page. I thought this one was easier to navigate on a phone. One thing that because when I visited the website on my phone, and I saw this was a lot easier to get everywhere. I didn't have to click the blue bar anymore really to go anywhere. Like I could just go to the syllabus here, and that's where you go for all like grading policy, course calendar stuff to see when things are due. And all the weekly course content is here. It goes straight to it. You don't have to click a second folder. All course assignments are here. I've started color coding them so that even when you go to weekly course content, like if you go to this week, the courses the items are color coded just like they are in the syllabus. Green is readings, purple is assignments. Red are quizzes. And then I've got a reminder every week about the Launchpad labs that you can start doing now, which I'll go into more detail in the other class. I moved your grades closer up here, and I've still got the old start page here. Really the only thing that the start page can do for us now is give us this access to this original video and these two assignments, but those two assignments are also available in all course assignments. Oh, I guess the quiz availability went away, so I'll have to put that back in there. Is it in here instead? No, I must have like turned off the availability, so I'll have to go in fact, I can fix that now. It's supposed, all the quizzes will remain open all semester, or they're supposed to. It's one of the reasons I like to show things in class, because if I'm showing you on Magnus Baracus, I can see when I've made a mistake. Whole semester. Actually, why don't we do this? That way I can keep availability due dates in future semesters, but I'll just change the year. That way I'll know that I need to go back and basically make the same date, but different. Okay. So that should be fine now. Yeah, so those two assignments can both be accessed there, which I'm really glad that I saw that, because that means that it wouldn't have been able to be accessed anymore until I did that. So, oh no, that's actually, why is that inaccurate? Hold on. Yeah, I'll be doing that in 1301 at the next class. Because I don't want to, if I talk about it 2 different times, it'll end up being a little excessive. You'll say like, okay, here he goes on 10 minutes on Launchpad again. It would be, you'd be annoyed. So yeah, so really that's worth 2% of your final grade, not 3. So now they add up to 5 like they're supposed to. And I'm also going to go over in the other class. I'm just going to briefly show that, but I wanted y'all to realize that it's navigated slightly differently now. Does anyone here, I was very curious just to ask the question, because I looked at, for the first time I've ever, it didn't used to let me do it for some reason. I think because my Magnus Baracus person is actually a fake account. He's not real. I just made the student up, and he doesn't have like a student ID tied to him, so he's not like a paying student. But I was finally able to download the actual Blackboard app to my phone and log in that way. How many of you do all of your work through the app, not the websites?
I didn't even know there was an app.
Yeah, apparently there's an app. Yes.
I do all mine on the website.
Well, what now?
I do mine on the website.
You do yours on the website? Okay. That's where I think the best experience is. Like if you use a computer, you access everything on the website. Everything is essentially as I've designed it. But when I went to the app, everything looked really horrible. It was all like black and white. So they try to make it simplified, I think, for students. But I think that would work better in a course where the instructor didn't care about any of this stuff. But I'm doing like as much as I can to make it more like visually appealing, easy to follow. Um, as I realize things don't work, I'm going to make changes. Like I think this to me this course page is so much better to start on because I know that on mobile I looked at it yesterday and I was like, every time you go to my course to get anywhere, you have to hit that stupid blue bar, and I was like, that sucks. So I was like, people aren't going to want to hit it, and they'll just like, do I want to get on Blackboard right now? No, it's too annoying. But if I change the start page, so now you can get to basically everything you need to go to from the main page that pops up, you'll never have to click the bar. So I feel like that's, I don't know, it's still even gonna work better from mobile now. The only problem is on the app. But in my personal opinion, while it might be good to like have the app so that you can tell it to do notifications, so if a new assignment pops up, it'll go, oh okay, I got a new assignment popped up. Otherwise, I just think it would basically be useless. Maybe grades? I don't know. Because I messed around with it and was like, this is not very. Although a lot of people give it like really high ratings. I wonder why. Very confused. Good morning.
Hi.
What was your name again?
Brenda Anicar.
Say it again.
Brenda Anicar.
Oh, Anicar. Got it. Let me get you on the roll so that I don't forget. There. So, why did I do that like that? Okay. I did like all caps. That's dumb. Okay. So I think the new start page will be a lot more beneficial. You'll be able to get around better. And I haven't made these. I always make the changes in 1301 first because that's the class where I have 112 students across all of my sections. IRWS is all students who are also in 1301, and the only other class I have is 1302, and they are 20. So I'm always going to make the changes first in this class so that I can test them all, then I'll make the changes in the other courses as well. So like I'll start when I go do the assignments and stuff in IRWS, I will clarify those. But for me, the whole point of this course is to help you do better in 1301. So I'll always be focusing mostly on that class. And when we come to this class, I'll be talking to you about basically mostly stuff from that class. There'll be a whole lot of time to like ask questions and stuff today because I think that's probably what we'll end up doing on most class days. Also in the other class, in case we don't get to it, I'm going to be covering cause and effect, and at the very end I'll be assigning the essay. So on the video that I've already posted, if I end up not getting to it in class, and I probably won't because I haven't in any other class, in 1301 in the weekly course content for this 1 week, I have remembered to put the PowerPoint in. And I don't know if anybody's tried to look at that yet on like Google Slides, but you can see that. Additionally, the video contains me talking about the essay kind of at length. Although I don't know what this is. I think it's maybe because like at night I get tired and I drink a lot more caffeine. Around the end of the video, like I did something stupid. So has anybody gone to the 1301 yet and seen that in every single week I now color code everything? So like even if you go, and I think most of the assignments are even in there. So if you go to like week 8, you can see like oh, that's a scary week. Let me go back. Don't freak out. That I just assign all the stuff on one day and it's due on separate days. Let's go back because you're terrified. I assign all the research related assignments in week 8, and then over the course of the next few weeks, we just turn them in one by one. So that all we're working on at the end of the course is the research related assignments. And then we're done at week 11. The last research related assignment that has to be due in week 11, that past week 11, is in week 13. So after Thanksgiving, there's the Oh, I need to change that to the word do, but otherwise it's exactly the same. Start page, course content, week 13. This needs to say due, not assigned. I must have hit cancel because I did this last night. Oh wait, bye. And that's the last thing that's due is the presentation over the research, which that sounds scary. Does that sound scary to anybody, the words presentation? It's really not that scary. It doesn't? Y'all aren't scared about the word presentation? It's a first. Students are like, yeah, I have anxiety and that day is going to make me like have to be scared for like 4 weeks in preparation. I'm like, really? Okay. But it's really not that bad. In fact, it's the whole reason I did the intro video for you for the class, the one that you did on the information form, was so that you would go through the process of the issues with technology then. And you literally do that in almost the exact same way. You just paste the link instead of on a Google form, you paste it here on Blackboard, and other people look at the video and they ask you questions, and then you go ask other people questions, and it's super simple. And I grade it really easy, like super easy, because I'm not really a speech teacher. So to me, like if I get you to do it, I'm like, wow, good job. I hate how none of my facial expressions work. Like I'm just making like loads of facial expressions behind this mask, and I'm like a dead eye person. Like my eyes don't really convey a lot of emotion usually. Well, except right then. You don't really care. So Launchpad stuff is all due then too. But every single week I've got stuff, and it's all color coded and things, and it's easy to follow. And I'm working on making it easier to follow. But it literally is easier to go to the new start page for everything now. I was like, oh, how do I get back to just literally click that? I guess that if you went somewhere else, you can always just hit back a bunch, right? Back to get back to the new start page, or you just go to the class again and start over. Yeah, I was trying that. I was like, how do you get back to the start page from any other place? So the PowerPoint is available. Additionally, the YouTube video is available. I talk in the video at length. That's in week 3, and let me show you that again in case I went a little too fast. Everything that's in week 3 right now currently is the lesson video, and right here, that is not the lesson video. Wait, hold on. How many of you do everything for the class from a computer? How many people do everything from a phone? So I know on YouTube, like if I hover over, it shows me like a preview of the YouTube. Does it do that on mobile too? Like when you hold your finger like down the dot, does it hold you like show a little mini screen of like what's coming up, and you can scrub? Like scrubbing is the word for going forward and backward and looking at a tiny picture. It'll let you do that too on mobile, because I don't really pay attention to the YouTube app. I don't do that very often. Okay, so you can basically go to find this thumbnail in the video where it's like looks like I'm looking at a piece of paper, and then I talk about it. And it's around 105 in the video. So that's something that y'all need to be aware of so you can understand like the essay, because that's basically the main place where I'm gonna be showing it to you in 1301, but the full assignment of it is gonna be there. And then also I think there's a couple things I'm gonna talk about as well that are how you have multiple attempts on the quizzes. So every time you take a quiz, go ahead and take it again, because there's not just one attempt. Launchpad, I'm going to show you all Launchpad availability, where it is, the location of the video. It'll help you do it, like this little video I just showed you, that one. That goes through Launchpad and like the instructions and how to get to it and everything. And I'm going to give you all an update on my grading when I'm going to start grading basically like a lot of assignments all at once. and how I'll get to the 1301 essay on Saturday. So those are all things I'm going to go over in this class, as well as the cause-effect lesson. But at this point, I want to know if anybody has any questions. It can be about stuff that I have already told you I'm going to talk about the next class, or any questions you have related to assignments you have turned in, things that are confusing. I mostly want to use this class for that basically every day. Is where I want most of the class to be taken up by that, not new lessons you're going to have to learn and create new work for, because that's just a lot more work on you, I think. So, any questions about stuff? It doesn't even have to be this class. It could be the college in general. And I'm going to tell you something that one time a teacher told me in a college class. They said, if you have a question, chances are 5 other people have that question. You're just all 5 of you too afraid to ask it. So if you ask, then you're like, do you have the same question? That was kind of funny. Can you see it is the same? But if you ask a question, likely other people have the exact same question.
Are you gonna show us Launchpad, like how to find the website?
Yes. Let me see also what Rebecca's question was.
I was going to talk about Launchpad as well.
Launchpad, and then Rita, I'm assuming you also want to know about Launchpad. I'm hearing 3 for Launchpad right now. So while I do generally direct the other class to the Launchpad video, I mean, I can take the time in our class to talk about Launchpad stuff because we just have that much time. Like, this class is really just meant to, I'm re-emphasizing that point over and over again. So this class, the whole point of it is not to add more work to you, but to help make you better at the work you're doing in the other one. So we'll show you Launchpad. Let me go to Magnus Baracus. That's better. I'm going to talk about basically everything I currently know about Launchpad. Launchpad, I think now is a lot easier to get to than it was before because there's no blue bar on the side when you're on mobile. I guess basically it looks like this when you're on mobile, right? So like you have to click this little blue bar every time you do anything. Actually, does it help for y'all to see this bigger? Like that-ish? Oh, okay. I'm sitting here like, it's so hard to like, I feel like I'm fairly good in the world at seeing the world through other people's perspectives, you know, like thinking like, okay, well, this student's having to go through this right now, so they can't get this turned in. That totally makes sense. But even like little simple things like, what does the projector, like the computer screen I'm looking at here, look like to you way up there? So, and you know, I feel stupid. So Launchpad is accessible in a number of different places. The easiest is under all course assignments. And I decided to, even though it's not this way in the syllabus, color code all items in the course now. And actually did it, the color code is exactly the same as it is in the course calendar for the syllabus. I don't know if y'all could tell that. But this is the exact same color of red used on the quizzes and the course calendar. It's the exact same color of pink, exact same color of purple. I just wanted to be consistent coloring so that you could see and remember. But so at Launchpad, I've given a new color, which is orange. It says something inaccurate in the folder title, which I'm going to click real quick and change. I don't think it's saving all of my changes because I made this change last night. That's really weird to me. Yeah, they're due 12/4, not 12/11. Right? Or am I getting confused with the revisions? I don't know. Syllabus is always right. Let's go to syllabus. Yeah, 12/4. Yeah. So, submit. Is it still big? No, it needs. Why did it get smaller again? Oh, different website. So we go to Launchpad here, which now says the correct thing, 12/4. And it says here in the title of the folder, so you can always remember this, all learning curve assignments are due 12/4. and I'll tell you what that means. So it does tell you to watch this video before going to Launchpad, but I'm kind of going to cover most of that material now, I guess. Because I guess it is worth 15% of your grade, so it's nice to have me cover it in a way that is clear. The instructions that I basically give are this little flag assignment that says sentence grammar diagnostic pretest. It is very important that that be the very first thing you click. And if you've got your code pack ready and you want to put that code pack in, like the Launchpad code pack that comes with your bundle once it comes in, have it at the ready. And then click this assignment. I don't know if I showed you all in class on another day, but it looked different when you clicked it before. But since I activated this on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m., it now changes to this when you click. So you'll know you're in the right place if it takes you to Fall 2020 English 1301 all sections Nichols, because we only have these grades in the 1301 course, not the IRWS course. And whatever section number you have, which Thursdays is going to be 403. So if y'all have me on 1301 on Thursdays, it's 403. If you have me on Wednesdays, it's 401. It's unlikely that any of you have a Launchpad account already. If you do, if you've been here at a different semester, you'll just go to have an existing Launchpad account. But if you're brand new, fill it all out. You'll have to create a password. Is this the class where I talked about passwords and my suggestions for passwords? Not like suggestions of what you do, but I'm going to go ahead and ask by like kind of like a show of hands-ish. How many of you use basically the same 3 or 4 passwords on every single website you go to? Yeah, that's what I figured. But I'm assuming what's really annoying is you sometimes will go to websites and it'll say you need to reset you have to reset a password because you can't remember what it is. And when you go and you see the rules they have of making the new one, it then tells you you can't use an old password, right? And you're like, well, if I'd known the rules ahead of time, I would have put that password in. But they don't tell you the rules unless you're making one. So my suggestion is to have a file you keep on your computer, not where you write down your passwords because that's irresponsible, but where you do something like this. TikTok, my normal short password with a special character and a capital. I'm assuming you all have the exact same special character you use all the time and the exact same letter you make capitalized, right? Or a set of letters. It's the easiest thing to remember, so it makes sense why people would do it that way. But the only issue you would have with this, if anybody ever found this file, is if they had figured out somehow your regular password, then they would know all of this stuff too. But it's true that if any situation comes up where somebody figures out one of your passwords, you're in trouble anyway, and then we'll need to change all of them. So it's going to be the same issue either way. But if you have a file like this, you'll always resist the temptation of writing down your password anywhere. When my wife somehow gets logged out of Netflix, she always texts me and she's like, can you send me the password? I'm like, sorry. It's terrible. I just won't do it because I will not write down my passwords anywhere, only in fields. And I hate when like sometimes the website is set to show password instead of hide it. And I'm like, ugh. Because even if I'm just on my own on like a phone, like I don't know if anybody's like in the background silently screen recording my phone. I don't want my password known. Which I guess technically if they were screen recording like that anyway, they would see every phone like finger tap you made. So I mean that would be its own problem. But if you keep a file like this, and just my TikTok password is my normal short with a special and a capital. So you probably have one that you sometimes use that's a short password, one that's a long. I'll also tell you, like, you'll have jobs in the future that will make you change your password every month or give you a new password every month. And I think they found this to be largely useless because when people do password breaking, they do it through computers. Nobody sits at a computer guessing passwords. That's not really what people do. The movies make it look like that, right? They try it one time, they try it a second time, and on the third try they got it. Because some idiot was like, has like a giant like statue of Achilles in his room, and somebody goes, Achilles, and boom, that's what it is. Or what's this person's child's birthday? Really, you should never have it be, something so simple. It should be something weird that nobody could ever guess. And this password expert, in fact, the guy, how they have all these rules on passwords, like sometimes you need to change it every month, or like it needs to be a random association of characters. He said that's when he first made these suggestions. He said that's not what he meant when he was giving the password rules that they should have for stuff. He said it's far less likely that a computer will guess a random association of 4 words than it is that it will guess a shorter set of random characters. So if you have something like 7-2-X1 capital Y G4, you see sometimes in scratch off codes you get on things. Those are actually easier for a computer to guess than orange, drywall, hammer dog, feces. Because a computer, it's a really long password, and a computer doesn't guess random words together. What it does is it guesses 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it goes 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, and it continues through all the possible iterations until it gets it. And actually, the easiest way to steal passwords is if you write them down. If you write them down by hand, or if you save them somewhere in a document, it's much easier to get. So just having a long password that's easy to remember. Not something that could be guessed by a computer that already exists. If you go, oh, this is clever, I'll just go Whiskey Tango Foxtrot because that was a cool movie title I saw one time. Well, that exists as a movie title somewhere, so it's going to try things that already exist first. But those are my password suggestions. Suggestion for how to save it where you don't lose it, because that's just good for life. Once you've got a password figured out, though, and you've documented somewhat what it is, you can then fill out the information, and you'll click Next. What it'll do after that is, I actually can't get to that screen, but what it'll do after that is it will ask you whether you want to start a free trial, or if you want to go ahead and put in a code. And now that free trial thing is, I don't know if you're familiar with websites and how they operate, but first time I downloaded TikTok, it has all this information, pick this and this and this and this, and then very tiny and light gray text in the corner it says skip, because they don't want you to skip. They want you to answer all these questions, but it's got this little tiny button that they give you the option to skip. And that's sort of what Launchpad has as well. It's got a little tiny suggestion at the bottom that says, or would you like to start a free trial? Because it gives that, you want to pay for access, or do you want to put in a code, or do a free trial? And so if you select the free trial option, it'll give you, this semester, it's 14 days. And I need to make a marker so I can cut. Or if you feel a lot more comfortable just taking the code pack that you paid for, putting that in and having that full 6 months of access, you can do that as well. That also is good because, let's say, and I would hate for this to happen, but let's say something, horrible happens, and I'll knock on wood for all of you. That literally is why I have it on my keychain, so I can knock on wood whenever I want. I would hate for anything bad to happen with any of you and what you've got going on, but if something did, then you didn't pass the course, it'd be nice to have that 6 months of access starting from September 24th, so that if you started the next class, you could wrap up the Launchpad really quick, because September 24th to October, November, December, January 24th is only 4 months. So if you had to take 1301 again in the spring, you would still have access for about 2 months into class. And if you took me again, I would again have it where there's not specific due dates for every little assignment, so you could just finish it all as quickly as you could. So the code sometimes will give you that peace of mind where you've got 6 full months of access. Another thing to remember about the code too, this really did happen. So I had a student who had the free trial. He started it because he thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do everything during the free trial period, and I'm going to sell my code. That's what he thought. He's like, I can sell my code to somebody because they always want the codes, but they don't want the books, right? He started his free trial, totally forgot about it. Did like one assignment, and around the end of the semester, he came to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Nichols, so I did the free trial in the beginning, and it ran out because I totally forgot about it, and I did like one assignment." He said, "What else can I do?" And I said, "Well, did you buy the bundle?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, then just use the code pack now. I mean, it sucks that you'll have to use it, but it's the only way to get the points." He said, "Yeah, so I put in the free trial, and there was a long time between the free trial time and now, so I've lost the code pack." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, I don't know where I put it. I don't, might have fallen out of my car or something. I don't know." I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think he ended up buying it again, like for like $50. I don't want to wish that on anybody. So if you know, and that would have been what I did in school. I'd be like, I'm gonna sell this later, and I'd lose it. So if you think you're that kind of person, or if you tried to do that, you might accidentally end up losing it. Either one, put it in a place you know you couldn't possibly, including like mom wouldn't rearrange the house and throw it away. Because sometimes what is this? No, we don't need junk. Throw it away. Mom, that was $50. But if you think you might be that kind of person, go ahead and put that code in. Yes.
So what are you really suggesting for us to use, the free trial or the 6 months?
Well, I mean, the 6 month thing, it all depends on what you do and what your time is like and your financial situation. So if you already bought the books and you're waiting for them to come in and you have the code, I mean, there's really no reason not to use the code. However, if you are in a situation where you needed that financial aid money you got for other purposes, like your car broke down and you need to fix it, so you don't have the extra money to do for books, you may be in sort of a situation where you're having to pick and choose between what you do. If that's the case, dedicate know that in a week or two you're gonna have to write the essay, but start Launchpad now and just spend all your time between now and then working on the Launchpad assignments. Do one here or there when you have free time. Get them all done in that 14-day period, and then you can get full credit for the Launchpad. It really just depends on your needs, what makes you comfortable, and what you think is best in your situation. So my suggestion is do what you think is best based on your circumstances. But either way, assuming you do all the assignments, will get you the full credit. So you fill that out, you do all this stuff. It'll take you to, if you click that pretest assignment, once it starts, it will take you into that pretest. You'll do the pretest, and it's likely you will feel very bad about yourself briefly. Until you remember Nichols said that pretest is supposed to make people do bad, because it's fairly hard. I didn't design it. Nobody basically designed it. It's just a pretest that was put in there by Launchpad. So if you get like a 20 on it out of 100, don't feel terrible. That's what a lot of people get. So if you do feel bad, though, you can go right on to the next assignment. And if you want to see which assignments you need to do in Launchpad, they're all right here in the grades section. It's got them all assigned. It's down below the lab average. You can see everything. There's sentence grammar diagnostic pretest down at the very bottom. There's sentence grammar diagnostic post-test. And all in between, it's got all these learning curve assignments designed to be done in order. Now, the learning assignments are inside the folders. So you've got your Launchpad account, you've done the pretest, you come back to Blackboard. Never stay in Launchpad, always come back to Blackboard. Because if you stay in Launchpad, you may end up doing assignments I haven't actually assigned, because it might move you to the next item in Launchpad sequentially, but it's not an item that I've assigned in the course. We don't want that to happen. So you'll come back to Blackboard, go to essay organization. If you want a good background in this information before taking the quiz, the learning curve, then, view the part of the ebook that's there. view the lesson on recognizing patterns of organization, watch the little video, then go to the learning curve. And actually might be useful for you to watch the video because many of you had questions about like, well, how's the best way to do an outline? And this will talk to you about organizing your writing into an outline. This video does. So that's a good usefulness of it. In fact, you can view that now even without having Launchpad, I think. Wow. That is a shirt. Weirdly enough, I think Jeff Norris, the math teacher, has a lot of those flowery shirts. Learning curves, those are the only assignments you actually get a grade on. All the other 3 assignments in here are just things you can view or read, but that is the quiz that gives you points. All of them are designed in such a way where they have a circle, and you start at 0 points in the circle, and as you go, it's like a clock, you know, it fills up. Once you get to 100, you're done. So once you fill up the entire circle, which might be 200 points, might be 300 points, depending on the quiz, you'll be done. You just do that with every single one of those learning curve assignments. At the end, you go to the post-test, and you've completed everything. Now, at that point in your grades, when you've done everything, you'll see that it says on the lab average category something like a 93, 94, because you didn't do perfect on the pre-test and post-test. Ignore that number. If you've done everything, you'll get 100. So just keep that in mind. Now, the lab average number will be included when I unlock the category on Blackboard that shows your average in the class. I can't turn off the weighted total, and I can't turn off the total. It puts those automatically. So it's going to show you some number all the time it says that you're making, but I have no control over that number. I don't know why they do that. But let's see. The lab average that's here is what's going to be used to calculate that number. But when you're doing it manually, you can use 100. Just to know that you'll get like a couple extra points than it looks like you're getting. It would make a difference between, let's say, like if you had a 93 on 15% of your grade. Let's see, 9 out of 10 would basically equal 13.5 out of 15. And that little bit of extra for the 93 means you'd have, a solid 14 out of 15. If you had like a 93. If you had like an 85, it's probably like 13 out of 15. So it's not far off. It means a difference of about 1 to 2 points in the final grade of the class. That little off number. So go through all these little folders, do the little learning curve assignments. You can do the other stuff if you want to, but it won't give you any points. Finish with the diagnostic post-test, and you're done. Now, there are other places in the course besides the All Course Assignments folder where you can find the Launchpad. I decided, since people are likely going to be using the weekly course content folders a lot, to have every 2 weeks a little reminder that says, hey, don't forget about Launchpad labs. They're due Friday 12/4, or work on them when you have time so you'll be able to complete them. I've got one of those every 2 weeks, week 6, week 8, week 10. Just so you're aware. I think that's most of what I cover. So it doesn't matter like what grade. People think like, so I have to get like 100 on every single one of those quizzes. What that just means is you answer enough questions to get to 100% of the circle. Some of you might answer some wrong along the way, so you'll have to do 15 questions. Some of you will get all of them right, so you'll do like 10. Some of you will get like half of them wrong, so you'll end up having to do like 25 questions to develop mastery, because it reduces your point value every time you're wrong. But you can still get a bunch of reduced point value questions to fill up the circle. And if you start answering right again for a bunch of them, it bumps your point value back up to the highest amount again. But the whole point is just filling that circle, answering enough questions to where the circle's filled. Okay, are there any questions about any of the stuff I've said or other things? Launchpad questions? some step of the process that wasn't clear. Because I do get into a habit of saying the same thing every semester, so I might not realize something I didn't say. Okay. There is one thing I just realized I didn't say, so I'm going to say it. Is when you start doing Launchpad assignments, I'm sure that your first instinct will be after you finish the Launchpad assignment to go over to Blackboard and look at your grade there and how it affected it. And you'll see it doesn't look like you've done it. You're like, what? So maybe you do another one just to be sure, and sure enough, you go back to Blackboard again, and you see there's no grade on Blackboard yet for it. And you're like, what happened? Well, Launchpad, apparently the data that comes from Launchpad over to Blackboard is a lot of data, and it literally is two different companies sharing data, Macmillan and Blackboard. So they essentially have to send packets of data to get the information over. Sending those packets of data is something that's so large, they realize that they should probably only do it about one time a day. So it really does take about 24 hours for your grades to come from Launchpad over to Blackboard, but they will come. And anytime you're worried, you say, like, I can't really tell if I'm doing stuff even on Launchpad. Nichols, could you check? And I'll check, and I can actually do a manual grade refresh, and it'll pull grades over from Launchpad if you need me to do that. This did happen one time, and it irritated me quite a bit, so don't do this. A student said, Mr. Nichols, it's not showing I've done anything on Launchpad. I was like, in Launchpad or on Blackboard? He said, in Blackboard. I was like, okay. And I said, I'll do a grade refresh, and I'll let you know. And I do a grade refresh, and it says, yeah, it doesn't show you've done anything on Launchpad. He says, yeah, I haven't. I was like, what? I haven't done anything on Launchpad. Was I supposed to? I was like, yes. But I had to go through this whole, it takes like 10 minutes for the thing to pull all the data over, so I couldn't do anything on Blackboard for like 10 minutes. Waiting, and the guy was like, yeah, I haven't done anything yet. Like, I just was wondering why I didn't. I was like, why? I don't know. It was weird to me. Of course, that's why it showed you hadn't done anything. Other questions? Other questions? Yes.
So, is Launchpad supposed to be about the books that we have, but it's online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is tied directly to the book and the lessons from the book.
But what if we have the books?
If you have the books, it's sort of like kind of quizzing you on the knowledge of the books.
Okay.
That's why all of my quizzes that I have, the reading quizzes of the class, cover ideas that I've talked about specifically about essays and essay writing. So it is meant to cover that. I do think it does a pretty decent job of covering the ideas from the book. So this is just the book. Other questions? Otras preguntas? Is that right? Is that close? I don't know. The last time I took Spanish was, oh good lord, 2000, year 2000, 20 years ago. 20 years. I remember just enough to buy tacos in gas stations. That's the only place you can get good tacos. And she never speaks English, and I'm like, she's like, then if I don't say specifically, I'm like cilantro, onion. If I don't say that, I've noticed a lot of times I get tomato and like cheese, like yellow cheese. And I'm like, I understand why it happened, and I'm like, that's my fault. I didn't say I want real tacos. I should have said real tacos. Tacos al pastor. It's the only way to go. If you're not eating tacos al pastor, you're eating fake tacos. Taco Bell is a burger on a tortilla. first time you eat tacos al pastor, it's almost like seeing the face of God. You're like, oh, why have I been eating this my whole life? And also, why does my tongue so hot? It takes a while to get used to the peppers. Any non-taco questions? I shouldn't have mentioned tacos. No, I can't stop thinking about tacos. I think at this point, and I'll try to remember to do this every day, at around 10:30. I did this the other class too, because I do recognize that there are students who feel comfortable asking questions in front of people, but other students are like, I have a specific question to me, and I'd rather just ask you directly. So if there are people who have questions who want to ask me directly, they can do that after class. And so at this time, I'll try to remember to kind of stop every day, and y'all can go. And if you have me at 11, you can come back at 11. If you don't have me at 11, you'll have a great weekend. I don't know that I would start working on the cause effect essay yet. Maybe wait until next week's lessons. But if you feel more comfortable starting over this weekend, you can. And it might be good to start with asking me a question on IRWS, because that will be coming up next week. So if you look here in weekly course content, week 4, you'll see we have one of those Q&2As that's coming up, and I'll have the link there probably by the end of today. It should activate at 12:30 automatically. So the outline though won't be until that following, or I'll leave it up so you can do both at the same time if you want to. But vast majority of the classroom, y'all can go and y'all can have a great weekend. Bye.